Welcome, Gryphon fans, to the Gryphon Nation Football Coaches Show. This is the first time that we've hosted the show after a home victory, so this is going to be a fun morning, very fun morning. Friday night, we had Rogers Heritage come in. They were ranked, in some people's polls in the top 10 for 7A. They were 2-0, much better, much improved team from what they've been in the past, and they came in here as a 30-point favorite, and our kids competed. They played so hard. They played with so much Gryphon pride, and we found a way at the end of the game to pull out a 30-29 victory. And to see the smile on the kids' faces after the game was priceless. And if you weren't here, make sure you come to the next one, because I think this team's got a lot more victories in them. Also on the show today, we have our defensive coordinator and assistant head coach, Ray Sessions. Ray will be kind of talking about our defensive performance and some of the highlights and lowlights and some of the player of the weeks. And then to the right over here, we've got the offensive coordinator, Trevor. We call him Susan Maltbia, but anyway, Coach Maltbia is from Conway. We're glad to have him. He's going to talk the same thing, some of the highlights, lowlights, player of the weeks from our game with Rogers Heritage. So we're going to jump right into it. First question. Coach, talk about our defensive performance and our 30-29 victory.
Okay, well, we started off really well. Got a 3-and-out on the first series, and then they did something that I wasn't expecting. They really did kind of a brilliant adjustment. They put two fullbacks in the game, and just ran blast right, blast left, and we weren't really ready for that. But we adjusted to some stuff that we had put in the summer. So we were able, we had an answer for it. It wasn't pretty at times. But,
right.
Their first offensive touchdown, their first score, it was a 15-play drive. As a defense, anytime that you make them earn it like that, you can accept it. Offenses are built to score points, especially in modern football. The days of 7-0 games are pretty much gone. But
yeah.
So I thought they did some really good things offensively to give us some challenges, and of course we overcame a lot of that too. To be able to hold them to 29 points, and granted 29 is the most they've scored in any game all season, but the main thing is the win. So,
well, just from a head coaching perspective, I was proud of our kids. I mean, defensively, we're talking defense here. They swarmed to the football. They gang tackled. Very few times was it a one-on-one situation. Now at times they were just bigger. They had the edge, maybe based on scheme or whatever it was. But I thought our kids did a great job of playing hard. And as a coach, when you have kids playing hard, you're going to fix the schemes.
Right.
Whatever you see from week to week, and we're gonna have a chance. And give Heritage credit. They did a good job with their scheme. Gave us kind of something we weren't expecting, but also as being a good defensive coordinator, as you are, and a good defensive staff, we were able to overcome it and figure out a way to stop it.
Well, and you touched on it, the pursuit by the kids. When you stop the film and in the picture, within 5 yards of the ball carrier, we've got 9-10 guys every play. That's going to win you some games.
Yeah.
When you have that kind of pursuit, obviously, we don't have a bunch of 300-pounders up front
right.
on the D-line, and we don't have linebackers that are 220 pounds. Our linebackers are 150, 160.
Yeah.
So, our strength is our legs, being able to fly to the football. So, and that's the thing that if we correct our mental mistakes, get lined up correctly, because we had a bunch of those. We had a bunch of mental errors, right. But if we get lined up correctly and everything, I like what this team has. I like our chances.
Tell us about some of the player of the weeks, each level, the three levels of defense, which is the D-line, the linebackers, and then the secondary for the people that maybe don't know football as much. Give us some of the player of the weeks.
Okay, well, for the defensive line, our outstanding defensive lineman was Seth Stuckey. And Seth didn't have a whole lot of tackles, but he plugged his gaps. He forced some double teams, which, when you force double teams, that means we've got linebackers running free that have a chance to make a tackle. So he played really good up front. We've got to get him playing a little bit lower. You know, he raised up a lot, but overall he did a really good job. And then at the linebacker level was sophomore Jalen Waits. He had 6 tackles, had a real pivotal fumble recovery that stopped their best drive of the second half.
Right.
And enabled us to go ahead and take the lead at that point, or put some distance to it. And so he played really well. And then in the secondary was Marquise Roberts. Marquise had 7 tackles. Of course, a couple of those were on special teams.
Right.
And he had a pass breakup on the only time that they challenged him was the opening series of the game, and they threw a deep ball, threw a go route against him, and he batted it down and was in perfect situation to cover. So when you've got a 6'3" corner, then that eliminates some things. But and then the overall player of the game, of course, was Waits, because just his presence in the box and where he was on the field, he made a lot of things happen. He made the ball cut back quite a bit, so he really did a good job.
We talked a lot about defense here this first quarter. We're going to go ahead and come back to the second quarter, which is usually our guest spotlight. We're going to use the second quarter some to talk about the offense, and then we'll also get to our guest assistant coach, Devonte Howard, who's new to our district, but he's not new to Little Rock and Central Arkansas. So Gryphon fans, we'll be right back for the second quarter.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Gryphon fans, to the second quarter. In the second quarter, we're going to talk a little offense. This past Friday night, the offense really had their best offensive production since the school's been open. We rushed for almost 400 yards, had over 500 yards of total offense, which that's not been done. And we had a lot of great highlights. So, Coach Malby, talk a little bit about some of the highlights and lowlights.
Right.
And then some of the player of the weeks.
So I'm really proud of our offense, Coach. We really cleaned some things up in that bye week, and it showed in last Friday night against Rogers Heritage. The offensive line, I'm really proud of those guys. Like you said, we had over 400 yards rushing. Okay, Jabron Lewis threw a 93-yard touchdown to Big Play Rob. Marquise Roberts, 93-yard touchdown. He did a really great job. And so,
let's talk a little bit about Jabron. He's being mentioned as one of the player of the weeks in the state. Had 34 carries for 247 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 3 two-point conversions out of our single wing offense. And like you said, he was 1 for 1 with the 94-yard touchdown pass talk a little bit about Jabron and our backfield.
So Jabron Lewis had a really great game. 34 carries, over 250 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's and like you said, the 2-point conversions. He had 3 of those. So he had a really great game. He carried the football well. He ran well. Even when down the stretch and going was getting tough for us, we leaned on that guy in the offensive line. So a lot of credit goes to Jabron and the offensive line on that.
You know, to have any good offense, especially in the dead T, you got to have more than one back.
That's right.
Do we have anybody else do anything?
So we in our backfield we got Luther Tucker, and then we also have Brian Ussery. Both of those guys, they ran the ball well. When we called upon them, they ran the ball very well. Yes, they did.
You know, one thing I'm proud of, and Coach touched on it, and I'm going to touch on it a little bit too. In the paper, you're not going to see offensive lineman names. You're going to see the backs, the quarterbacks, etc. But our offensive line, from tight end Chris Sanders, Aiden Yarbrough, to Jay Sean Edgiston, James Wilbert, who backed him up, some at tackle, to Sherrod Shepard, Anthony Wilson, Anthony Jones, Kalen Shelton, Dalen Jackson, Brandon Bryant, all of those guys on the offensive line, man, they went to work. They pounded on Friday night, and so very, very proud of them and the efforts that they had. At this time, the second quarter, we're going to turn now to our special guest. We have a guest coach on board. We were very fortunate to be able to hire Coach Devonte Howard this summer. He was a college coach at Tennessee Martin, coached wide receivers. He had actually came down in the spring recruiting some of our kids, and I just kind of laid it on him and didn't get off of him. I just stayed on him the whole time and put pressure on him and told him how good it was here and how good the work environment was and our kids. And so we got him. So, Coach Howard, welcome to Southwest.
Oh, man, thank you. It's been a pleasure, Coach.
Well, first off, tell the listeners, tell us about your background. Where'd you go to high school at, college, etc., and your athletic background?
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. Born and raised Little Rock, Arkansas. Went to high school at Bryant, class of 2014. From Bryant, went to University of Memphis. I walked on to the University of Memphis, and then from there transferred to UT Martin, where I spent my last 6 years, 3 years playing and 3 years coaching. So had a bit of a good ride there.
Now you're a Little Rock native.
Yes, sir.
Your dad actually coaches at Little Rock Central.
Yes, sir.
So you grew up in Little Rock and then transferred to Bryant, correct?
Yes, sir. Grew up in Little Rock, transferred.
So you're one of those guys. I got you.
Yeah. 10th grade year. Man.
Fans, that's what we're trying to stop. He had so many bad experiences at Bryant. We could do just a show on that. Devonte, tell us a little bit about being a former college coach. What was that like?
It was really, really busy, man. Really busy. Recruiting was year-round, nonstop. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time at Tennessee Martin. I enjoyed being with those coaches and being with those players and kids, man, and wishing them the best in their further endeavors. Wish them the best.
Well, for all the people watching, Coach Howard is a new father.
Yes.
So he's got a new little baby girl. I was going to say, what are your hobbies outside of football? Is it changing diapers?
Changing diapers.
Gotcha.
My wife won't say that as much, but I kind of give her that. But playing golf, man, I really picked up on playing golf the past 2 years or so, and that's something I like doing with my dad, like something I like doing with my friends. Playing golf is a real big hobby of mine now.
Since you've been at Southwest, what's your most favorite part so far?
I can't lie, man. The staff. The staff is something that makes this place home. The kids, as we try to make a difference in each one of the kids' lives, it makes it fun when you come to work and you have fun with the people you work with. So I enjoy every moment of being here with the staff and also the administrators and being at the school, man. It takes me back, but I enjoy it.
Well, Coach Howard coaches wide receivers for us, and I know right now us running kind of the dead tee, it's a lot more blocking than it is catching passes. But fans, just trust me, it's coming. It's coming. We're going to be throwing the ball around in the near future. Before we go into our halftime, we'll talk about our MVTs for the week, our most valuable teachers, and we've got Brooke Gryphon and Chase Utley. So we'll be doing some specials with them during the halftime segment. But before we go to break, Coach Montbiel, any last words? Who is our player of the weeks at each level?
So at the running back level, Jabron Lewis was our player of the week. So the offensive line was a big deal for us. They controlled the line of scrimmage, and they're going to be our player of the game, or
Okay.
player offensive line. The whole entire offensive line is our player of the week on that one.
Okay. What about receivers?
Receivers, you have big play Marquise Roberts, and I believe A.J. Millen as well. They both did a great job. Like I said, Marquise Roberts had a 93-yard touchdown, and A.J. Millen did a great job blocking.
And also in the backfield, we had Luther Tucker, who had 73 yards, I think on 11 carries, and Brian Usry had like almost 65 yards on 10 carries. And so we had Heritage in a tough position because we had three backs that each of them were gaining a lot of yards because our linemen were just coming off hard, and we loved it. All right, Gryphon fans, we'll be back at halftime with our Most Valuable Teacher Awards, and then we'll go into the third quarter talking about the opponents and how they did last week and who they play this week. And then the third quarter we'll talk about Pine Bluff, and the fourth quarter we'll talk about our conference opponents. So we'll be right back.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome, Gryphon Nation, to our halftime show. During this halftime, we always honor our most valuable teachers, MVTs. It's sponsored by Wood Grill Buffet in Benton. Today, we're going to honor our assistant principal, Chase Utley. Chase, congratulations.
Thank you.
And here's a certificate for Wood Grill Buffet. Go out there and eat as much as you can.
I will.
Our second MVT of the day, maybe number 2 in order, but that does not mean number 2 on the list. Today, Brooke Gryphon will be our most valuable teacher, and she'll be getting a Wood Grill coupon, Wood Grill Buffet from Benton as well. So congratulations, Brooke.
Thank you. And it's a great day to be a Gryphon. Hashtag Miss Gryphon is a Gryphon.
Go Griffins. Welcome back, Gryphon Nation. In the third quarter, we're going to talk about our opponent, the Hot Springs Trojans, and we're going to jump right into it. Coach, talk about the Hot Springs Trojans offense.
Well, Coach, they like to run a spread attack. They're going to put 4 wide receivers on the field. They're going to do multiple. They're going to use some motions. They're going to bring one of those receivers into the backfield when they want to go 20 personnel. So, they're going to give us some different looks. They've got a lot of speed on the edge. The receivers are fast. So, it's going to be a big test.
They've got 6 offensive starters back, and I know they're really high on the quarterback. just when I've seen, he looks like he can really throw the ball. What do you think on him?
Quarterback's a junior. You can tell that he's really getting more comfortable with the offense as the season goes on. I watched him throw a throw the other day on film from the left hash. He threw an out route all the way on the right side toward the numbers, and that's a tough throw for a college kid to make, let alone a high school junior.
Yeah, if you can do that at the high school level, you got a good one for sure. Coach, let's talk a little bit, just briefly, about the Hot Springs Trojans defense. You know, their head coach is Daryl Burnett, who's a McClellan grad, and I know that nothing would make him happier than to beat the old town school here at Southwest. But tell us that he's a defensive coach.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about the defense.
So like you said, he's a defensive-minded coach. He runs a multiple defense, more so 3-4-4-3, depending on the offense that week. He likes to adjust to the offense. And so defensively for them, on the front line, they're big, Coach.
Yeah.
We got our hands full this week. They're pretty big. They have number 90, excuse me, and they run to the ball very well. I don't believe that they're that physical. Okay, they're not going to be more physical than us. That's the thing this week. And so.
Well, we're not going to give them any bulletin board material.
No.
They are physical. Coach Burnett, if you're watching, hey, we're saying you are physical. You know, the thing I've noticed about the Hot Springs defense, they like to run a 4-2-5 against spread teams, and you can tell they are built for spread offenses. They're built for the speed, and I would hate to be running a spread offense against these guys. Now, the thing that we've got to hold on to is they're going to have to do something different this week that they've not done so far this year, and that's just play a run-based team, and it's going to be a physical war. It really is, and we've told our kids that, and I know Coach Burnett's doing the same thing. It's going to be a great game down to Hot Springs on Friday night. If you're a Southwest fan, put on your green and purple, travel down there, go to the game. After the game, go to the casino, make it a good trip. But the main thing is go to the game and cheer on those Gryphons against these Trojans. We'll be right back for the fourth quarter, and we'll talk about our conference opponents.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. But I need that back. No. Kevin!
Hey, Dad. I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter of the Gryphon Pick'em Show. This is awesome. I know our coaches love this. We'll start with Coach Maltby. Talk to us a little bit about Rogers.
Rogers Heritage is a top 10 team in the state of Arkansas.
Rogers High School, right?
Rogers High School, that's right. They beat Farmington last week. A little bit surprised about that, but they got the job done. They're 3-0.
And they're open this week, correct?
Open, that's right.
You know, Rogers Heritage that we just got finished playing, they're 2-1 in their non-conference. They come back next week and play Springdale. They're open this week. and I look for them to bounce back next week. Coach, talk to us a little bit about the Conway Wampus Cats.
Well, I talked to Coach Fimple early in the week, and of course he tries to stay real humble, but Conway's rolling right now. It's them and Bryant, and then everybody else.
Yeah.
So, I think Conway's going to go to Ouachita, Louisiana, or I don't know if they play at home or away.
They play at home. They do play.
Wampus Cats going to get a big win on that one.
I talked to Fimple about it, and he said Ouachita, they're like the New York Giants. They're just loaded. And I'm like, okay, whatever, Keith. Let's talk about Cabot, Coach.
Scott Reed team, man. He has his defense rolling right now as well, offense as well. They play Russ in Louisiana. I'm not sure if they play at home or away, but I think I'm going to take the Cabot Panthers on that one.
Well, what they did to Bentonville West was pretty impressive. Bentonville West is good. North Little Rock. North Little Rock's playing Parkview this week. Interesting matchup. You're playing a Parkview team led by Coach Brad Bowden, who used to be the coach at North Little Rock. They're going to be fired up. That's going to be a very intense game. North Little Rock right now is 0-2, so they've been for 2 weeks. They've been just I know practice has been miserable, and so they're ready to play. So I think it's going to be a great game, and I am not going to pick a winner. I'm going to say it's going to go into like quadruple overtime, and they may not have a winner. It may be a tie. Is that straight on the fence enough?
Closer than the experts think.
Not so fast.
Closer than the
Let's talk about Bryant. Coach, talk about Bryant and who they have.
Well, Bryant's Bryant right now. To beat the man, you got to beat the man. And when they started dominating us at North Little Rock, they became that team to beat.
Yeah.
And so far, nobody in state has been able to touch them. And it's going on 3 years since they've lost to an in-state opponent. Yeah. And they just keep on rolling. You got to respect what they do.
And they're 2-0, and they had a game rained out, so they're open this week, and they have next week I believe Central, so they'll go into conference. Coach, talk to us about Jonesboro.
Jonesboro right now they're 0-2. This week they end up playing Center Hill, Mississippi. They're 0-2 right now, Coach. So hopefully this week they can get it rolling.
I believe they will. I don't know much about Center Hill, but I know Coach Coleman and the kind of coach he is and that staff. So I believe they'll get it turned around. Little Rock Central is open this week. They have a open date. They're 0-3. They lost to Bentonville West last week. It's tough right now over there at Little Rock Central. They're low on numbers. I talked to Coach Shelton, yesterday, and I know he's down a little bit, but I think they'll get it turned around eventually. It's just going to take some time. They're in a rebuild process, and wish them nothing but the best, except for week 9. Then we don't want them to have any luck.
Right.
The last game of the year is Northside. Coach, talk to us about Northside.
Well, Northside lost to Fayetteville, and really it was about a 20-point loss, and I think I had picked Northside to win that game. So, I was surprised by it.
You put the old Grizzly head on.
I did.
You lost.
I did. I thought the Grizzly Bears were going to go in there and beat them, but Fayetteville pulled it out. So,
well, right now, you look at our conference top to bottom. It's not really anything different than it's been. You've got 3 teams: Bryant, number 1 in the state; Conway, number 2. You've got Cabot, number 4. You'll probably have another 1 or 2 teams join in later in the year. It's just a tough conference, and like I said, when you look at these teams with Conway and Cabot, well coached, very physical, different style, but they're going to be very tough teams. Then you have North Little Rock and Bryant. Those next 2 games for us, traditionally North Little Rock and Bryant's met for the championship game.
Yeah.
And so those are going to be tough. And then Jonesboro, a newcomer into the conference, don't know a lot to what they're going to bring to the table. And then Central and Northside closes out the conference season. Somehow, some way, we've got to get at least two wins to make the playoffs, 3 or so to get better seeds. So it's going to be a fun, exciting year, Gryphon Nation, and our kids are right now. They have confidence coming off the big win. We're going to travel to Hot Springs Friday. Leave here probably about 3:15, 3:30. Get down there for the 7 o'clock game. We hope you guys come with us, wear your green and purple. If not, the game will be carried on 96.3. FM by the Henderson State University radio network. So if you can't come to the game, at least listen to it and cheer those Griffins on. See you next week.